So keep pushing forward, keep walking your path, even when it feels like no one notices. Keep striving for greatness, not because you need validation, but because you believe in your own worth. Eventually, those who fail to see it will regret missing the opportunity to walk alongside you. And by then, you'll have already built something extraordinary, not just for the world to see, but for yourself. And that's prayer that praises your inner and outer vitality, the strength of your mind, body, and soul, your tennis soup, your brain. You will have proven that your value was never dependent on their recognition. It was always within you. And that is a power that no one can ever take away from you. There are moments in life when doubt creeps in, when the weight of uncertainty feels overwhelming, and you begin to question whether you're on the right path. That whatever fearful thoughts you might have about thinking about volunteering will be rooted in fear, and that whatever failures will be compounded by fear, and that you begin to question whether you're on the right path. In these moments, it's easy to fall prey to the voices around you, the voices of skepticism, of critics, of people who tell you that you should tone it down, play it safe, or fit into their idea of what you should be. And yet, in the face of this pressure, there is one thing you must hold on to above all else: your unshakable belief in yourself. The foundation of your strength is built on the understanding that your value is not up for debate, that you don't need permission from anyone to be who you are or to pursue your greatness. Confidence isn't something that comes from the outside. It arises from within, from the deep, unrelenting certainty that you are capable, worthy, and more than enough. Determination to get people to admire and praise you, and commitment to be better and the best version of yourself. That you are capable, worthy, and more than enough. We live in a world that is constantly telling us to conform, to shrink, to be just like everyone else. But that's not where true success lies. It's easy to blend in, to play by the rules that others have set, but that's not the path that leads to lasting fulfillment or greatness. The people who have had the greatest impact on the world, the ones who changed the course of history, were not the ones who waited for permission. They were the ones who refused to shrink, the ones who carried with them an unwavering sense of confidence in their purpose, in their mission, and in their ability to make a difference. They didn't allow the doubts of others to dictate the course of their lives. Instead, they operated from a place of inner certainty, an understanding that their worth was not defined by the world's expectations, but by their own belief in themselves. When you hold on to that kind of confidence, you begin to shape your own reality. It's easy to look outward for validation, to seek reassurance from the people around you. But the truth is, no one else's opinion matters as much as your own. No one else is living your life, walking your journey, or experiencing your struggles. Only you know the depth of your potential, the strength that lies within you, and the direction you must take. No one, and when you embrace that, when you stop looking for permission and start living in alignment with your own truth, something remarkable happens. The world begins to take notice. People who once doubted you will find themselves questioning how they missed your brilliance, your resilience, your potential. A leader who becomes vulnerable is the first leader that you can be. They are the first leader who is more visible than ever before. You are the very person your people need you to be. The most powerful thing you can do is to cultivate a belief in yourself that is so firm, so unwavering, that nothing and no one can shake it. That belief acts as an anchor, grounding you when the storm of doubt threatens to pull you under. It's not about having all the answers. It's not about being perfect. It's about knowing that no matter what, you will figure it out. You will adapt, you will grow, and you will continue moving forward with purpose. Let's think about what true leadership is. Leadership is not about self. It is not about controlling, loving, or even obeying yourself. It's about knowing your people. Confidence is not the absence of fear, but the determination to act despite it. It is a decision to keep going, even when the road is unclear, even when the outcome is uncertain, because you know that your efforts are meaningful, that you are capable of handling whatever challenges arise. At some point, the people who once doubted you will start to regret their judgment. They will look back and realize that they failed to see what you had all along, the potential to rise, to succeed, and to make a lasting impact. That is the nature of confidence. It is often invisible to others in the beginning. They may not see your vision, your determination, or the depth of your abilities, but that doesn't mean they're not there. In fact, the very people who dismiss you may someday be the ones who are most amazed by your achievements. And when that happens, you will have already moved beyond their doubts, already built something that proves your value, not in their eyes, but in your own. And to be clear, I don't mean the 3 people you meet. I mean the 3 questions you pose to God when they meet your people. What can you do when no one else believes in you? Or prove to the world what you have to offer? And I will be the quickest to prove it. There is something incredibly liberating about recognizing that you don't need to apologize for your confidence. You don't need to downplay your strengths, minimize your achievements, or hide your potential in order to make others feel comfortable. The world has enough people who are afraid to stand tall, afraid to speak their truth, afraid to show up as their full selves. In order to show up as our full selves, we need to find confidence in being our all. What the world needs more of is people who are bold enough to step into their power, to own their worth, and to live without fear of judgment. When you embrace your confidence, you give others permission to do the same. You set a standard that says, I am here, I am worthy, and I will not shrink to make others feel comfortable. Think about the moments in your life when you've seen someone operate with quiet confidence. There's a kind of magnetic energy that surrounds them. They don't need to brag or seek approval. They simply show up fully themselves, and people can't help but be drawn to them. This is the power of confidence in its purest form. It's not loud or obnoxious. It doesn't demand attention. It simply exists, radiating a sense of self-assurance that others can't ignore. It's present from the moment of making till the moment of merely projecting something that exists, radiating a sense of self-assurance that others can't ignore. And this is what you have the ability to create within yourself. When you cultivate a deep belief in your own worth, when you refuse to let doubt define your actions, you become a force of nature. People notice. They can't help but recognize the energy you bring into every room, the strength you radiate, the way you carry yourself with purpose and conviction. And if you radiate that energy, they will adopt it for themselves. And precious little of you radiates with it. But let's be clear about one thing. This doesn't mean you won't face challenges. It doesn't mean the road ahead will be easy. It simply means that you will face those challenges with a sense of certainty, knowing that you have what it takes to navigate them. Confidence doesn't mean that you'll never fail, but that you will rise every time you do. It's not about avoiding mistakes, but about learning from them, growing through them, and becoming stronger as a result. The journey is not always smooth, but the power lies in how you respond to the obstacles that come your way. When you choose to believe in your own potential, when you operate from a place of self-assurance, you create a ripple effect. Others begin to see your strength, your determination, and your refusal to give up. The people who may have once doubted you begin to reassess their own judgments, and eventually they will regret not recognizing your brilliance sooner. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. Your actions, your resilience, your unwavering confidence will do that for you. So stand firm in your conviction. Don't allow the doubts and opinions of others to dictate the course of your life. You don't need anyone's permission to be great. You don't need their approval to succeed. When you walk in confidence, when you believe in your own value, you set a standard for the world to follow. And in the end, those who missed you will wish they had recognized you sooner. Absolutely assemble and embody what you believe in. That's all done. But by then, you will have already built the life, the legacy, and the success that prove your worth was never in question. It was always within you. There are moments in life when you feel overlooked, when it seems like the world doesn't quite recognize the depth of who you are, the strength of your character, or the value of what you bring to the table. It's in these moments of doubt that the challenge arises, not just to continue, but to continue with a sense of unshakable belief in your own worth. The world may not see your value now, but that's not an indication that you lack value. Rather, it's a signal that you must be patient, resilient, and steadfast in the knowledge that your true worth will eventually become undeniable. Time, after all, has a way of revealing what's truly important. It's your job to live in such a way that when the dust settles, it becomes impossible to ignore the impact you've made. It's easy to think that because others don't acknowledge your potential, there must be something wrong with you. We often look outward for validation, for approval, for some form of recognition that tells us we're on the right path. But here's the truth. The search for external validation can be an endless and futile pursuit, because true confidence doesn't come from others. It comes from within. It starts within the heart, and it starts within the mind and within ourselves. So celebrate the grace that comes from within. The moment you begin to believe in your value without needing anyone else's approval to do so, you shift your entire existence. You stop measuring yourself by the arbitrary standards others set and begin to understand that you are the measure of your own worth, so that we can live wholeheartedly the life that God has planned for us, for our children, for our grandchildren, and for the generations to come, to know your worth and to believe that you are the measure of your own worth. There's a story we often hear, one about a person who goes through life doubted, dismissed, or misunderstood, until one day those very people who doubted them are forced to reckon with their true potential. You've seen it before. Think of those who were told they wouldn't amount to anything, only to rise above expectations in a way that leaves everyone in awe. The truth is, the path to success is rarely a straight line. It is often filled with obstacles, resistance, and rejection. But this is precisely where your value is forged, through those struggles, through the rejections, through the moments when it would be so easy to give up. It's through the challenges that your character is developed and your strength is tested. The people who miss you now, who overlook your potential, will someday realize that they allowed a rare and powerful force to slip through their fingers. Understand this, your worth is not contingent upon someone else's acknowledgement. You don't need anyone's permission to be great. The world is full of people who will try to tell you what you can and cannot do. They will try to tell you that you are not enough or that you don't have what it takes. But the real question is not what they think, it's what you believe about yourself. It's about knowing in the deepest part of your soul that you are capable, that you have something valuable to offer. When you begin to operate from that place of knowing, when you align your actions with your internal belief, the world begins to shift. People will begin to take notice. Those who once doubted you will start to wonder how they missed the greatness that was always within you. It's so easy to figure out that you are better than other people, that people judge you because of your internal beliefs that was always within you. There's something profoundly liberating in realizing that you don't have to seek approval from others to be who you are. The very essence of your existence is a testament to your unique value. Think about the people who have had the most profound impact on the world. Many of them were initially dismissed or disregarded. They weren't celebrated in the moment. In fact, they were often ridiculed. Yet over time, their influence grew, their impact deepened, and now we look back on them as icons of progress and change. Why? Because they didn't wait for the world to tell them they were great. They simply believed it, and they continued forward with unwavering conviction. They were willing to let time be the judge, and in doing so, they made history. period, that does not belong to the service industry. That unpredictability that we witness, and when people feel safe enough and confident enough to share what really happens behind closed doors. You might be in a position right now where you feel like no one truly sees you, and it's hard to shake off the feeling that maybe you're just not good enough. But understand this, you are not a reflection of how others see you. You are a reflection of your own beliefs and your own actions. The world does not define you. You define yourself through the choices you make. There will always be people who underestimate you. There will always be those who fail to see your potential. But remember this, just because they can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. The light you carry within is not for everyone to understand. Sometimes it's meant to shine the brightest when it's in the darkest of places. I am breathing life into you right now because I believe in you. As you move forward, remember that patience is crucial. The people who fail to recognize your value today will regret it in the future. But you must remain focused on your own growth, your own journey. You can't afford to be distracted by the opinions of others, especially those who have yet to understand who you are and what you bring to the table. Instead of being consumed by frustration, use that energy to fuel your drive to improve, to grow, and to become the best version of yourself. Use that energy to fuel your drive to improve, to grow, and to become the best version of yourself. There is immense power in self-belief, and it's that belief that will carry you through the toughest of times. There is also a quiet strength in knowing that you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You don't need to constantly be in competition with others, trying to earn their approval. Your life is not a race to gain validation. It's a journey to discover and realize your own potential. And when you do, when you finally step into your greatness, there will be no denying it. As experienced as you want to be, those who fail to see it will eventually be forced to reckon with the fact that they missed an opportunity to be part of something extraordinary. On Sunday, October 16th, 2013, we failed to see that our interview is a miracle because the Lord's people had not yet come together to give the conversation a room to withstand observation. You see, life has a way of revealing the truth over time. It's like the story of the tortoise and the hare. Sometimes slow and steady wins the race. The loudest voices may grab attention, but the most enduring impact often comes from those who operate with quiet confidence. Those who understand that their value doesn't need to be announced. It will speak for itself in the long run. The truth is, your potential doesn't fade or diminish just because someone else fails to see it. In fact, it only grows stronger. As time goes on, the people who missed you will begin to see what they've been overlooking all along, and they'll wish they had recognized your worth sooner. This is not an exercise for show. This is not an interrogation. This is a love exercise. And there's a fundamental truth we often overlook. Time is the ultimate revealer. Time doesn't lie, and it doesn't rush. It allows everything to come to light, to settle into place. It's not always clear in the moment, but as the months and years pass, things that once seemed insignificant will be revealed for what they truly were. Important, meaningful, powerful. People often fail to recognize your worth today. They might overlook you, underestimate you, dismiss you, and yet time will eventually show them what they missed. Those who fail to see you in your full light will come to realize that they missed an opportunity to witness something extraordinary. But by then, it might be too late. Think about the most important moments in your life. Many of them were probably met with doubt, resistance, and criticism from those around you. It's easy to get caught up in what others say, to feel discouraged when it feels like the world doesn't appreciate your efforts. But here's the thing. Those moments of rejection, of being overlooked, are not reflections of your true potential. They are simply markers in the story of your journey. The world, in its rush to move forward, often misses the quiet revolution that is happening within you. But over time, it will begin to see. It will recognize the effort, the persistence, the quiet determination that you carried all along. They think of any great story, any legend, any hero's journey. More often than not, those who are destined for greatness are not recognized in their time. They are rejected, they are doubted, they are dismissed. But what makes them great is not the immediate recognition they receive, it's the persistence, the inner resolve that drives them forward despite the doubt. And what's crucial to understand is this: you are no different. The greatness that lies within you doesn't need validation from others. It doesn't need a pat on the back. It needs only time to manifest. Time reveals all truths, including your worth, your strength, and your potential. Be preeminent. Do best. Be great. Do it. Don't doubt it. There is power in knowing that time will show your value regardless of the opinions of those around you. Right now, it might feel like your efforts are going unnoticed, like no one sees the energy you put into your work, your relationships, or your personal growth. But the truth is, your impact is being recorded in ways you cannot yet see. The people who dismiss you today will not have the same perspective in the future. As time passes, the work you've put in, the resilience you've shown, and the integrity with which you've lived will become undeniable. Those who failed to recognize your potential will look back and wonder how they missed it. And by then, you will have already moved forward, leaving them behind. You will have already moved forward, leaving them behind. Time, though, is not just a passive observer. It's also a crucible that shapes you, that forces you to evolve, to grow, to become more than what you were yesterday. It's easy to focus on the immediate, on what is happening right now. But what matters in the long run is how you respond to those moments of doubt, those moments when you feel unseen, when you feel unappreciated. Every step you take in those moments builds you into someone who cannot be ignored. When every step you take in those moments builds you into someone who cannot be ignored, the challenges you face, the failures you encounter, the times you want to give up but choose not to, these are the things that prepare you for the future. It's through the passage of time that you will emerge stronger, wiser, more resilient. And it's through time that others will recognize the depth of what you've achieved. And then again, this is what you do. This is who you are today, and it scripts for tomorrow. Keep working harder today, tomorrow stronger, wiser, more resilient. And in the journey, you'll recognize the difference you have made. There is something truly remarkable about those who are willing to wait for the truth to reveal itself. They don't seek immediate applause or instant recognition. They understand that greatness is built over time, that the seeds they plant today will eventually grow into something extraordinary. And when those seeds begin to bear fruit, when the impact of their efforts becomes clear, there will be no denying it. They will be just as proud of the seeds later on as they were when they were growing up. But when you will not deny their growth, the seeds will fruit over time, and there will be no denying. Time will have revealed their true worth in ways that no one could have predicted. The people who underestimated them will look back and realize that they missed an opportunity to be part of something powerful. What's essential to remember in all of this is that your value is not dependent on immediate recognition. You are not defined by how others perceive you today. You are defined by the work you put in, the growth you pursue, and the strength you show in the face of adversity. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that if others don't see your worth, then it must not exist. But that's simply not true. Time will be your proof. Time will be the judge, and in time, people will come to realize that you were exactly who you said you were: capable, strong, resilient, and deserving of success. They will regret not recognizing your value sooner. But by then, you will have moved on to bigger, better things. This is the power of time. It doesn't rush, and it doesn't reveal things until the time is right. It's a slow and steady process, but it is always working in the background. You don't need to hurry. You don't need to try to prove yourself to anyone. Time will do that for you. Your absence when it comes will speak volumes. People will realize that they missed out on your energy, your potential, your vision. They will fill the void that your presence once filled, and they will wish they had seen you for who you truly were while you were still there. But that's the nature of life. We often fail to appreciate what we have until it's gone. If we ever fail to realize that this life is painful enough as it is, it's because God hurts in himself, so let him hurt and be hurt. So don't rush the process. Don't be discouraged when others fail to see what you're capable of. Don't be disheartened when your value isn't immediately acknowledged. The most important thing is to keep moving forward with the knowledge that time will show them what they missed. It will show them the impact you've had, the work you've done, and the difference you've made. And when that time comes, they will regret not recognizing you sooner. But by then, you will have already moved on, and your greatness will have already been established, not by their recognition, but by your own persistence, your own dedication, and your own commitment to doing the work. Time is a slow burn, but it is the most accurate reflection of your worth. Keep moving forward, keep working toward your goals, keep believing in your potential. Because in the end, time will reveal everything. And when it does, the world will finally understand what they missed. There's a truth we often forget in the daily grind of life. The most significant thing we leave behind is not the things we accumulate or the accolades we receive, but the impact we have on the lives of others, the legacy we create in our wake. We are all, in a sense, walking legacies. Each decision we make, each action we take, contributes to a future that will either honor us or forget us. It's easy to think that our absence won't be noticed, that the world will simply move on without us, but the world will simply move on without us. It's easy to think that our absence won't be noticed, that the world will simply move on without us, but the reality is the world will notice when you're gone, and it will regret not having appreciated you while you were still there. The influence you have, whether you realize it or not, is profound. And when you leave a place, a person, or a project, your absence is felt deeply by those who understood your true worth. Legacy isn't just about grand achievements or monumental successes. It's not always about leaving a world-changing mark that the entire world will recognize. Sometimes it's the quiet, consistent actions that matter the most. The way you showed up for people when they needed you, the example you set through your work ethic, your values, your principles. Those who truly know you will always remember the little things, the way you made them feel, the way you listened, the way you inspired them. They are celebrating your behavior, not your outcomes. The way you treated them is not what they remember. The way you listened, the way you inspired them. Your legacy is not written in headlines or flashy accomplishments. It's written in the hearts and minds of those who had the privilege of working with you, learning from you, or simply being in your presence. And while the world may not always see your value in the moment, time has a way of revealing the truth. When you choose to live with intention, when you show up in a way that reflects your highest potential, your absence becomes a loud, unspoken reminder of what is missing. There are moments in life when you may feel invisible, as though your contributions are overlooked or dismissed. But the truth is, people notice more than you think. They feel the void when you're not there. And when folks are looking for something, the truth is, people notice more than you think. They feel the void when you're not there. Those who truly understand your impact will find themselves reflecting on how much they miss the energy you brought to the table, the way you held others accountable, the way you cared when no one else did. And it's in that absence, in that reflection, that they'll begin to regret not fully appreciating you while you were present. It's tempting in those moments of feeling unnoticed to shrink yourself, to stop showing up in your full potential. You may begin to doubt whether it's worth it, whether anyone cares, whether anyone will notice. But I urge you, don't give in to that temptation. Don't stop being your best self because others haven't yet recognized your greatness. Your legacy is not about their approval or acknowledgement. It's about the truth of who you are and the impact you make, regardless of whether it's immediately visible. Those who miss you now will eventually realize the void your absence has left behind, and they will regret not having fully appreciated you while you were there. And they will be afraid moving forward if they see you in the group surrounded by when you were there. And I will say this with all due respect to individuals that move. You see, there's something incredibly powerful in being true to yourself and living authentically. When you bring your whole self to the table, when you step into every room with confidence and integrity, you create a presence that cannot be ignored. You don't need to chase recognition or validation. The impact you leave behind is far more enduring than any momentary praise. In fact, many of the people who truly appreciate you might not even be the ones who show it in the moment. They might not have the words to express it, or they might not recognize the depth of your contribution until you're no longer there. But once you're gone, once your absence is felt, they will begin to understand what they had all along. And that understanding will come with a heavy dose of regret for not having fully recognized your value when they had the chance. And we might never have. We might still be left holding the baggage when they had the chance. And you walk through life with purpose, with the intent to make a meaningful difference in the lives of those around you. You create a ripple effect that will outlast your physical presence. The lessons you teach, the kindness you show, the integrity you embody, these things will live on in the people you leave behind. And though they may not fully realize the depth of your influence in the moment, they will feel it in their lives long after you're gone. And please know that it pays off. I make it my life mission. Your absence won't just be noticed, it will be deeply felt. And those who overlooked or underestimated you will have no choice but to reckon with the void you left behind, and to come the other side and bring those who truly care about you with them. This person will be praised for your goneness, and it will be benefited by your presence. You are who you are, and your future deserves to know it. The being that you are becoming. It's crucial to understand that your legacy isn't always something you can control or predict. You may never fully understand the extent of the influence you've had on others until they look back and tell you how much you shaped their lives. Sometimes, the smallest gestures, the way you showed up for someone when they were struggling, the way you encouraged a colleague when they doubted themselves, can have the biggest impact. You might never receive the recognition or the accolades you deserve, but that doesn't change the fact that your legacy is being written every day. It's being written in the hearts of the people you've touched, the lives you've changed, and the work you've done. And that, in the end, is the only legacy that truly matters. When you leave a place, when you step away from a role, or when you part ways with someone, your absence will speak volumes. People will begin to recognize how much they missed your presence, how much they took for granted the contributions you made. They may not have appreciated you in the moment, but once you're no longer there, they'll feel the loss in ways they didn't expect. This is the power of true influence. It doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't demand recognition. It simply is. It's the mark you leave on the world through your actions, your words, and your choices. And it's in your absence that people will realize just how much you truly mattered. This is the way life works. The people who underestimate you now, the ones who fail to recognize your value, will be the same ones who will eventually regret not having acknowledged you when they had the chance. And by the time they do, you will have already moved on, creating new opportunities, building new relationships, and continuing to leave your mark on the world. It's in your absence that your legacy becomes clear, that the world begins to understand just how much it lost. But by then, your true worth will have already been proven, not through their recognition, but through the impact you've left behind. So if you've continued to operate from a place of feeling exhausted, angry, and overwhelmed, and you're living and working for other people, so never doubt the power of your presence. Never underestimate the difference you make, even if it isn't immediately visible. Your absence will always be felt, and those who fail to recognize your value will regret it once they realize the depth of what they missed. And so I invite everyone here to be willing to look at their lives and take a closer look at themselves and see who will continue to live with intention, to show up with integrity, and to leave a legacy that is undeniable. Not because the world will immediately appreciate you, but because your true worth will shine through and the world will have no choice but to see it. And so you commit to taking that first step towards the life that is unconventional for you. Someone said to me,